Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk to you about four profound forces that fundamentally shape your existence, determining whether you lead a life filled with power and purpose, or one of quiet desperation and mere survival. These four pillars are your mouth, your mood, your money, and your mind. Gain mastery over these, and you will not only win in life but truly thrive. Cede control, and you'll find yourself perpetually struggling, simply trying to keep your head above water. Control your mouth, the architects of your destiny. Your mouth is far more than just an organ for speaking. It is the very front gate of your character, the primary broadcast station for your inner world, your thoughts, your deepest emotions, your core values, and your intelligence. What you choose to say, and equally important, what you choose not to say, communicates volumes to the world about who you are at your core. In this intricate dance of human interaction, your words possess an incredible, almost mystical power. They can either become your most formidable weapon, capable of building and defending, or your greatest weakness, leading to unforeseen destruction. Most people tragically underestimate the profound power held within their mouth. They perceive speaking as a simple act of communication, a routine exchange of information. But it is so much more than that. It is the very fabric of your reputation, the invisible hand of your influence, and the undeniable force of your leadership. When you open your mouth, you are never just making noise. You are either making perfect sense, fostering understanding and connection, or you are inadvertently making enemies, sowing discord and resentment. You are actively engaged in building strong, lasting bridges of connection, or you are carelessly burning them down, leaving behind only ashes and regret. It's a sobering truth that some individuals inadvertently destroy their life's most promising chances, not because they lack inherent talent, intelligence, or even opportunity, but because they never truly learned the critical skill of managing their words. They speak impulsively, without the slightest pause for thought. They interrupt others mid-sentence, steamrolling over conversations. They dominate discussions, turning every differing opinion into a heated argument. They engage in destructive gossip, ceaseless complaining, or relentless bragging. And then, in their bewilderment, they wonder why no one seems to listen to them anymore. The harsh reality is that people possess an incredibly long memory for what you say, especially when those words are careless, intentionally cruel, or foolishly uttered. Just think about it. A single ill-considered sentence can go viral in today's interconnected world, reaching far beyond its initial intent. One poorly timed or inappropriate joke can instantly cost you a coveted job opportunity. A single rude comment can irrevocably shatter a cherished relationship. And one uncontrolled emotional outburst has the terrifying power to obliterate 10 years of painstakingly built trust in a mere moment. The true, often overlooked skill in life isn't just about knowing what to say. It's about possessing the profound wisdom to know when to say absolutely nothing at all. Silence, far from being a sign of weakness, is, in fact, a profound demonstration of wisdom and inner strength. When you are consumed by anger, silence acts as a protective shield, preventing you from uttering words you'll later regret. When you find yourself utterly confused or uncertain, silence generously buys you precious time to process, think, and gain clarity. And when you are deeply hurt, silence provides the necessary space for you to begin the crucial process of healing, preventing you from lashing out of pain and causing further damage. Many erroneously believe that speaking up constantly, asserting their voice at every turn, makes them appear strong. This couldn't be further from the truth. What truly makes you strong is speaking with deliberate purpose. Anyone, truly anyone, can talk endlessly, but only a select few possess the true art of effective communication. Consider great leaders, deeply harmonious partners, or profound thinkers. What common thread binds them? They consistently listen far more than they speak. They ask insightful questions, genuinely seeking understanding. They embrace and utilize pauses before offering a response. They do not feel compelled to fill every moment of silence merely to alleviate discomfort. Instead, they wield their mouth with the precision of a surgeon using a scalpel, not to cut indiscriminately, but to cut only what is precisely necessary with utmost care and intent. There's yet another critical layer to this. The words you choose to speak to yourself hold just as much, if not more, power than the words you speak aloud to others. That inner dialogue, the constant stream of thoughts and pronouncements you make when absolutely no one else is listening, sets the fundamental tone for your self-confidence, your emotional state, and your overall mindset. If your internal monologue is perpetually feeding your brain's self-doubt, corrosive anger, or endless excuses, you are actively training your mind to anticipate and even expect failure. And eventually, inevitably, you will begin to act like someone who has already lost the battle before it has even begun. So, how do we effectively control this powerful instrument that is our mouth? First and most critically, pause before you speak. Do not, under any circumstances, allow your raw emotions to hijack your mouth and drive it recklessly, like a stolen car with no brakes. Take a deliberate moment to check in with yourself. Ask these essential questions. Is what I am about to say truly helpful? Is it genuinely kind? Is it absolutely necessary in this moment? Second, commit to listening actively. This means far more than just passively waiting for your turn to speak. Allow people the dignity of finishing their thoughts completely. Make them feel genuinely heard, understood, and respected. You will be astonished by the sheer amount of respect you earn from others when you extend them the courtesy and space to fully express themselves. Third, make a conscious, unwavering choice to choose words that build, rather than words that destroy. Make it a practice to praise others generously in public, while reserving any necessary criticism for private conversations. And even then, ensure that such criticism is delivered only when it genuinely adds value and is constructive. Strive to compliment others far more frequently than you complain, and aim to encourage them much more often than you correct them. Fourth, diligently protect your credibility as if it were your most precious asset. Do not speak simply to impress others. Never resort to lying just to fit in or gain acceptance. Resist the temptation to exaggerate for applause or attention. Because once people begin to doubt the veracity of your words, they will, inevitably, stop trusting your inherent value as a person. Finally, engrave this profound truth into your memory. The smartest person in any room is not, by definition, always the one who speaks the most. More often than not, it is the one who speaks last, or, in moments of profound wisdom, not at all. But when that person does choose to speak, everyone instinctively listens because their words carry weight and purpose. Control your mood. The unseen architect of your day, your mood, is not merely a fleeting feeling or a transient emotional state. It is a potent, invisible force. It possesses the incredible power to either lift you to exhilarating heights or to crush you beneath its weight. It can single-handedly make your entire day brilliant and productive, or it can utterly ruin your carefully laid plans and, perhaps most significantly, deeply damage your relationships. And yet, disturbingly, most people treat their mood as if it were entirely beyond their control, like an unpredictable weather pattern, something that just happens to them, always someone else's fault, never their own responsibility. This, my friends, is the foundational mistake. Believing that your mood is an external occurrence rather than an internal state for which you are fundamentally accountable. While it is undeniably true that you cannot always control what happens to you in life, you possess an inherent and absolute power to always control how you respond to those events. And it is precisely the manner in which you choose to respond that defines the very core of your maturity, the depth of your self-discipline, and ultimately the trajectory of your destiny. A vast majority of failures in life do not stem from a lack of intelligence, opportunity, or even effort. Instead, they arise from impulsive, emotionally charged decisions made in the heat of the moment. People utter the wrong words, they walk away from genuinely promising opportunities, or they simply give up far too early, not because it was the right strategic move, but because their unmanaged mood made them reckless and impulsive. Emotions are a fundamental, unavoidable part of the human experience. They are real, raw, and often intense. However, allowing these emotions to seize complete control over your actions is an incredibly dangerous path. Unbridled anger can turn you aggressive and destructive. Deep sadness can lead you to withdraw and isolate yourself. Gnawing envy can poison your focus and distort your perception. Unchecked pride can blind you to crucial truths and learning opportunities. And overwhelming anxiety can completely freeze you, rendering you incapable of action. The individuals who consistently achieve long-term success are not those who somehow feel less. Rather, they are the ones who have meticulously trained themselves to act through their emotions, embracing their existence, but crucially, not acting on every impulsive emotional surge. A person who maintains their calm and composure while everyone else around them is panicking is not emotionless. They are, quite simply, emotionally trained and disciplined. They have painstakingly built a habit of self-checking, of pausing and assessing themselves before reacting instinctively. They refuse to hand over the keys to their life's direction to momentary, fleeting feelings. They possess a deep understanding that while moods are transient and will eventually pass, the decisions made under their influence are permanent and will profoundly stick. Your mood also casts a wide, often invisible, net of influence over everyone around you. You might mistakenly believe that your mood is a purely personal matter, confined solely within you. But moods, like energy, are intensely contagious. One negative attitude can, with startling speed, infect an entire team, souring the atmosphere. One uncontrolled emotional outburst can make everyone in the vicinity deeply uncomfortable and create an unbearable tension. A single leader in a persistently bad mood can transform an otherwise productive day into utter chaos. And the truly frightening aspect of this is that most people are completely unaware of the detrimental impact they are having. They rationalize their behavior as honesty, when in reality it is nothing more than recklessness masquerading as authenticity. While there is certainly a time for genuine expression, being real does not equate to being uncontrolled. It means being exquisitely aware. It means understanding the crucial difference between expressing your feelings constructively and simply dumping your emotional baggage onto others. Venting in a healthy way is not the same as blaming. Sharing your vulnerabilities is not the same as offloading your internal chaos onto unsuspecting individuals. The journey of mood control fundamentally begins with awareness. You absolutely must cultivate the habit of pausing and asking yourself these critical questions. What exactly am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? And most importantly, is this the right time to act on this feeling? If you can learn to consistently answer these questions with unflinching honesty before you react, you will begin to experience a life characterized by profound emotional clarity instead of constant emotional confusion. Another incredibly powerful strategy is reframing. When something invariably upsets you, do not passively sit in that negative emotion, allowing it to consume you. Instead, actively reframe the situation. Ask yourself, is this truly a threat, or is it merely a test designed to strengthen me? Is this a devastating failure, or is it a valuable lesson waiting to be learned? Is this personal, a direct attack, or is it simply situational, a product of circumstances? The more you deliberately reframe your perceptions, the more power you reclaim from the clutches of your emotions. And critically, do not passively wait for turbulent emotions to arrive and seize control. Instead, actively prepare for them, train for them. Just as elite athletes rigorously train their bodies to perform optimally under immense pressure, you need to systematically train your mind to think clearly and maintain composure even under intense emotional stress. This means consistently practicing mindfulness, engaging in reflective journaling, utilizing calming breathing exercises, and embracing moments of genuine silence. Yes, silence, because sometimes the most effective way to control your mood is to give it ample space to dissipate, without feeding it further noise or internal chatter. Actively surround yourself with emotionally mature individuals. Mood is, at its core, a form of energy, and energy is undeniably shared and absorbed. If your closest circle is filled with people who frequently panic, explode, sulk, or constantly blame others, you will inevitably begin to reflect that same destructive behavior. However, if you consciously choose to be around individuals who consistently remain grounded, calm, and composed, you will naturally begin to pick up their healthy emotional rhythms. Finally, always remember this profound truth. People will eventually forget the exact words you spoke. They will eventually forget the specific actions you took. But they will never, ever forget how you made them feel. And how you make others feel, in nearly every instance, directly depends on how effectively you managed your own feelings in that precise moment. Control your money. The mirror of your discipline. Your money is far more than just currency. It is an incredibly accurate mirror, reflecting the core aspects of your character. It shows your level of discipline, the quality of your daily habits, the depth of your mindset, and the breadth of your long-term strategic thinking. People often utter the cliché, "Money isn't everything." And while that statement holds a kernel of truth, here is the crucial part they invariably ignore. Money undeniably touches everything in your life. Your daily choices, your preferred lifestyle, the degree of your freedom, the quality and dynamics of your relationships. All of these are profoundly affected by the way you manage your financial resources. The fundamental mistake countless people make is mistakenly believing that the ultimate solution to all their financial problems lies simply in acquiring more money. But here's the stark reality. If you consistently demonstrate an inability to manage a small amount of money responsibly, you will, without a doubt, prove equally incapable of managing a large amount. If you are habitually careless with 100 rupees, you will be recklessly impulsive with 10,000. The root of financial distress is rarely income. It is almost universally behavior. True wealth isn't solely about how much you manage to make. It's crucially about how much you successfully keep, and, more importantly, what you intelligently do with what you keep. There's a compelling reason why so many lottery winners, despite receiving sudden windfalls, often end up going broke. Their income dramatically changed, but their fundamental financial mindset remained stubbornly stagnant. They continued to spend exactly as they always had, emotionally, impulsively, and without any genuine financial foresight. Money without genuine control is not a blessing. It is, unequivocally, a devastating trap. Taking control of your money begins with one crucial word: awareness. If you honestly do not know where every single rupee of your money goes each month, you are, by definition, already losing the financial game. Budgeting is not a mundane, boring chore. It is an act of deep respect for your hard work, for your future, and for your goals. Tracking your spending is not a punishment. It is a vital strategy, a roadmap to financial freedom. Most people instinctively shy away from closely examining their expenses because they are reluctant to confront their own lack of financial discipline. But pretending that your money issues don't exist is the fastest, most guaranteed way to remain perpetually stuck in them. Take a brave, honest look at where your money truly flows. Are you spending out of ingrained habit, or is each expenditure driven by a conscious purpose? Are you constantly trying to impress others with your spending, or are you genuinely investing in ways that actively improve your own life? Are you putting your money into things that have the potential to grow in value, or are you thoughtlessly wasting it on things that depreciate the moment they enter your possession? Impulse spending stands as one of the most insidious and dangerous habits in today's hyper-consumerist world. One quick click, one effortless swipe, one indulgent treat yourself a moment, and suddenly, your carefully constructed budget has vanished into thin air. Corporations invest billions studying human psychology, understanding precisely how to trigger your spending desires without you even thinking twice. And if you, personally, do not possess a well-defined plan for your money, rest assured, someone else absolutely does, and they will gladly take it from you. Learn the invaluable skill of delaying gratification. This is the precise point where genuine financial power begins to blossom. Just because you intensely desire something in this moment does not automatically mean you truly need it right now. If you can cultivate the discipline to wait a mere 24 hours before making a significant purchase, you will instinctively avoid the vast majority of unnecessary expenses. If you can patiently wait a year before upgrading your lifestyle to match a new income level, you will provide your investments crucial time to compound and grow exponentially, rather than sacrificing your long-term financial future for the fleeting sake of an immediate image. You must also grasp the fundamental distinction between assets and liabilities. If something consistently takes money out of your pocket every single month, it is, by definition, a liability, regardless of how shiny or prestigious it might appear to others. Conversely, if something consistently puts money back into your pocket, it is an asset, even if it seems utterly boring or unglamorous to the casual observer. Rich people consistently acquire assets. Broke people, often unknowingly, acquire liabilities and mistakenly label it as living well. Build a robust financial system. Automate your savings. Set a predetermined percentage of every single paycheck to be automatically transferred into a separate savings or investment account? The golden rule here is crucial. Do not save what's merely left over after you've spent. Instead, spend only what's left over after you have saved. Protect your emergency fund with the fierce dedication you would reserve for your last breath, because one unforeseen crisis without that crucial safety net can wipe out years of painstaking financial progress. Be acutely aware of and actively avoid debt traps. While not all debt is inherently bad, e.g., a well-managed mortgage, the vast majority of consumer debt is devastating. High-interest loans, spiraling credit card balances, tempting buy now, pay later schemes, these are financial quicksand. The longer you remain entangled, the deeper you will inevitably sink. If you truly cannot afford to pay cash for something, ask yourself with brutal honesty if you genuinely need it at all. And crucially, never, ever be ashamed of starting small on your financial journey. Financial discipline is not measured by the sheer volume of money you possess. It is measured by how intelligently and strategically you manage whatever amount you do have. There is immense dignity in confidently saying "not yet" to things you genuinely cannot afford. There is profound power in diligently learning how to grow your existing money before relentlessly chasing after more of it. Your goal should be to make money your servant, never your master. Give every single dollar you possess a clear, defined job. Let your money actively work for you, even while you sleep. Treat each dollar like a loyal soldier in your personal financial army. Every single one should be marching purposefully toward your long-term goals, never away from them. Control your mind. The ultimate command center, your mind, is the undisputed command center of your entire life. Every single action you take, every word you speak, every critical choice you make, all of it originates first as a thought within this powerful inner domain. If your mind is undisciplined, left to wander aimlessly, your decisions will be erratic and inconsistent. If your thinking processes are weak, confused, or distorted, your real-world results will, without fail, follow that same predictable pattern of mediocrity. No one, absolutely no one, ever rises above the inherent quality of their own mindset. The pervasive problem is that most people never truly learn the fundamental skill of how to control their own minds. They allow it to run wild and unchecked, like an untrained, unruly animal. They passively permit every fleeting fear, every nagging doubt, every deep-seated insecurity to seize the steering wheel of their consciousness. They blindly believe every single thought that enters their head, even when those thoughts directly contradict their most cherished goals and aspirations. And then, in a state of utter confusion, they wonder why they constantly feel stuck, perpetually overwhelmed, and utterly exhausted. Your mind, while incredibly powerful, is also remarkably programmable. It functions like a sponge, absorbing whatever information, emotions, and narratives you choose to feed it. If you consistently, relentlessly feed it negativity, engage in corrosive gossip, consume fear-based news, expose yourself to toxic conversations, and indulge in relentless self-criticism, then you should not be surprised when your mind, in turn, produces crippling anxiety, chronic procrastination, and dangerously low self-confidence. Your thoughts do not exist in a vacuum. They possess an undeniable, tangible power to shape your emotional and, ultimately, your physical reality. The crucial first step to effectively controlling your mind is to deeply understand and internalize this profound truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. Just because a thought enters your mind telling you that you are not good enough does not, by any stretch of the imagination, make it true. Just because your mind whispers you will fail does not mean that failure is your inevitable destiny. However, if you allow those negative, disempowering thoughts to linger and fester for too long, they will inevitably begin to construct a powerful, self-fulfilling narrative within your consciousness, and tragically, that deeply ingrained narrative will gradually become your perceived identity. Therefore, you must actively train yourself to interrupt negative thinking patterns. When your mind begins to spiral uncontrollably into worst-case scenarios, seize that moment. Pause, take a deep breath, and rigorously question the thought. Is this a verifiable fact, or is it merely the product of fear? More often than not, you will discover that it is indeed fear. Fear cunningly disguised as logic, worry cunningly dressed up like realism. And if you permit these fear-based thoughts to reside unchecked in your mind, they will systematically build invisible walls around your boundless potential, deceptively calling it protection. You must also become fiercely intentional about what you consciously expose your mind to. Protect it with the vigilance of a fortress. The books you read, the conversations you engage in, the content you consume, every single input matters profoundly. Remember the undeniable principle, garbage in, garbage out. If your daily mental diet consists solely of scrolling through chaos, drama, and endless distraction, your mind will inevitably become a disorganized, chaotic battlefield. But if you deliberately feed it structure, wisdom, clarity, and moments of profound silence, it will begin to actively work for you rather than relentlessly against you. Focus is another incredibly potent form of mental control. In a world saturated with endless distractions, the sheer ability to focus intently is nothing short of a superpower. Most people today struggle to sit still for even 5 minutes without instinctively reaching for their phone. They lament a lack of time, but what they truly lack is mental discipline. If you cannot effectively control your focus, you will never truly control your future. Why? Because focus precisely determines your direction, and your direction, in turn, ultimately determines your destiny. Controlling your mind also entails learning how to skillfully manage that persistent internal voice, the one that seems to never shut up, the relentless inner critic, the tireless overthinker, the one that plays old failures on a constant, painful loop. You don't necessarily have to eliminate this voice entirely. Instead, your task is to actively overpower it with a stronger, more resonant voice. A voice of unwavering purpose, a voice of undeniable truth, a voice that powerfully reminds you of who you truly are, even when the internal noise becomes deafeningly loud. Mental strength isn't about maintaining an unrealistic, constant state of positivity. It's about being profoundly grounded. It's about facing harsh realities without completely falling apart. It's about possessing the remarkable ability to simultaneously hold two seemingly contradictory truths. This situation is incredibly hard, and I possess the inner strength and resilience to handle it. Weak minds invariably collapse under pressure. Strong minds, however, bend and adapt, but they steadfastly refuse to break, precisely because they have been rigorously trained, shaped, and tested. Not coddled or sheltered from adversity, you must also consciously create dedicated space for quiet thought in a world that is always shouting for your attention. You desperately need silence. It is within this quietude that true strategy is formulated. It is here that innovative solutions are born. If your mind is perpetually reacting to external stimuli, it loses its capacity to create. And if it cannot create, it will merely copy, mimicking the thoughts and ideas of others. This is how countless people lose their authentic selves, by thinking with someone else's brain, believing someone else's version of truth, and relentlessly chasing someone else's definition of a dream. Your mind is not just a passive container, it is an active, vital compass. It will either meticulously guide you forward towards your highest potential, or it will relentlessly pull you backward into stagnation, depending entirely on how effectively you learn to control it. If it is cluttered and chaotic, your vision will be obscured. If it is clear and well-ordered, your true purpose will become brilliantly evident. If it is filled with fear, you will hesitate and falter. But if it is brimming with clarity and conviction, you will act decisively and powerfully. Final reflection: building a life forged in self-respect, self-control is not, as many mistakenly believe, about deprivation or rigid restriction. Instead, it is about profound alignment, the powerful ability to act consistently according to your deepest values, rather than impulsively reacting to every passing urge or temptation. It represents that crucial, often fleeting, gap between experiencing a feeling and immediately reacting to it. What you choose to do in that precise gap determines, with absolute certainty, the kind of person you ultimately become. Without the foundational discipline of self-control, you become a mere slave to every transient emotion, every fleeting temptation, and every distracting stimulus that drifts through your day. People frequently discuss self-respect as if it were some elusive mystery, something you either inherently possess or tragically lack. But the profound truth is that self-respect is something you meticulously build, brick by painstaking brick, decision by conscious decision. And the very first foundational brick in this edifice of self-respect is, without a doubt, self-control. Because if you lack the fundamental ability to control yourself, how can you possibly trust yourself? And if you cannot genuinely trust yourself, how can you ever truly respect yourself? You simply cannot separate the two. They are inextricably intertwined. Every single time you declare you're going to do something and then fail to follow through, a small, subtle crack appears in the edifice of your self-respect. Every time you consciously choose a short-term, fleeting pleasure over a significant, long-term purpose, you send a clear, damaging message to yourself. My word doesn't truly matter. My discipline is irrelevant. My goals are not important. And tragically, over time, that insidious message solidifies and becomes your ingrained belief about yourself. Self-control means possessing the quiet courage to say no when it is incredibly difficult, not because someone else is forcing you to, but because you made a promise to yourself, and you actually listened and honored that promise. That, precisely, is what generates genuine internal power. That is what meticulously builds unwavering integrity, the deeply satisfying feeling of knowing, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you had every opportunity to indulge, to give in, but you consciously chose not to. Not because you were forced, but because your greater mission, your profound purpose, mattered infinitely more than the fleeting satisfaction of the moment. Observe anyone who radiates high self-respect, someone who carries themselves with a quiet, undeniable strength, who feels no need for external validation, who maintains a clear mind and consistently upholds high standards. Their confidence doesn't stem from an inflated ego. It emanates from the consistent application of discipline. They have earned their profound self-respect backed by relentlessly keeping promises to themselves, promises that no one else ever even witnessed. The discipline forged behind closed doors invariably manifests as visible self-worth in public. The solitary workouts you complete when no one is watching, the temptations you powerfully resist when absolutely no one would ever know, the extra effort you diligently give when it would be so incredibly easy to simply quit. That is precisely where self-respect is painstakingly forged. It's not about achieving impossible perfection. It's about the relentless, daily repetition of consciously choosing the person you aspire to be over and over again until your actions flawlessly align with your deepest identity. Yet, let's be honest, it is not an easy journey. Every aspect of this modern world seems meticulously designed to constantly test your self-control. Advertisers relentlessly vie for your precious attention. Fast food beckons, often at the expense of your health. Social media clamors for your invaluable time. And comfort, that insidious siren, constantly seeks to lull your ambition into slumber. If you fail to seize active control of your own life, someone else or something else most certainly will. And you will awaken one day, disoriented and bewildered, wondering why you feel so utterly powerless, so profoundly distant from the person you once envisioned becoming. Self-control is, at its core, freedom. It is the unparalleled ability to consciously choose your response, rather than blindly reacting to every stimulus. It is the sacred space where you reclaim your inherent power. When you decisively stop giving in to every craving, every flimsy excuse, every volatile mood swing, you will begin to profoundly realize the immense influence you actually possess over the trajectory of your own life, and that powerful realization builds something far deeper and more enduring than mere pride. It builds unshakable respect for yourself from others. The individual who can master their mouth when consumed by anger, who can diligently control their schedule when tempted by procrastination, who can consistently manage their habits even when it would be infinitely easier to simply blame the world, that person walks through life radiating a distinctly different energy. Not louder, not flashier, but undeniably sharper, steadier, and deeply grounded in who they are. They remain unshaken by whatever challenges the world relentlessly throws their way. It's not about being rigid or inflexible, it's about being profoundly intentional. You can absolutely still enjoy life to its fullest, you can still relax and unwind, but you do it on your own terms, as a conscious choice, not as a desperate escape from your fundamental responsibilities. That, my friends, is the critical difference between temporary relief and enduring discipline. One is fleeting, the other is truly transformational. The more you diligently practice self-control, the more you will begin to genuinely like the person gazing back at you from the mirror, not because they are flawless, but because they are definitively in charge. Outro: own your discipline, own your life. In conclusion, understand this fundamental truth. When you diligently learn to control your mouth, you meticulously protect your precious relationships and your hard-earned reputation. When you master your mood, you safeguard your inner peace and ensure the integrity of your critical decisions. When you take firm control of your money, you secure your future and unlock possibilities. And when you assert dominion over your mind, you protect absolutely everything else that truly matters. Mastery begins from within. You do not need more luck, more fleeting social media followers, or more external noise in your life. What you truly need is more profound self-leadership. Discipline is not about oppressive restriction. It is about precise alignment, aligning your actions with your deepest values and highest aspirations. Every single area of your life will demonstrably improve when you cease merely reacting impulsively to the chaotic world around you and instead begin responding deliberately and thoughtfully from a place of clear, unwavering conviction. This world, with its countless distractions and pressures, will relentlessly attempt to pull you in every conceivable direction towards anger, towards distraction, towards debilitating debt, towards paralyzing doubt. But your sacred job, your profound purpose, is to remain steadfastly rooted in your core. The greatest, most enduring power is not discovered in attempting to control others. It is found, unequivocally, in mastering yourself. People naturally admire strength, but what they truly trust, implicitly and fundamentally, is control. Control your words, control your emotions, control your finances, control your thoughts, and in doing so, you will begin to construct something truly unshakable, unyielding self-respect. That, my friends, is the authentic foundation of real, lasting success, not the fleeting applause, not the blinding spotlight, but the quiet, profound ability to walk through life steady, sharp, and deeply grounded in who you are, utterly unperturbed by whatever challenges the world chooses to throw your way. Because if you do not first lead yourself with discipline and purpose, absolutely nothing you attempt to lead in this world will ever truly last. Control isn't about domination, it's about unwavering direction.